Hey, I'm ChristopherJMUA and welcome back to my channel. Unless you've never been here, of course, then welcome. I'm so glad you've stopped by. Today, we are reviewing the Ulta Beauty X Harry Potter collection. And I am beyond excited that this collection exists. I've been looking for Harry Potter themed makeup for a very long time. I found some from a Chinese brand at one point, but it was like a cutesy emoji type Harry Potter. It wasn't like a real Harry Potter. And I'm looking for the real Harry Potter, the real stuff. So if you've been looking for the real stuff too, and you want to know what this collection consists of, what the prices are, what it's like, and how these eyeshadow palettes perform, then stay exactly where you are, keep doing exactly what you're doing, and keep on watching. Alrighty, so we have 4 eyeshadow palettes here, one for each house of Hogwarts. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go watch Harry Potter, come back, we'll talk. Hogwarts is a school that Harry Potter goes to. And these are those 4 houses. I am a Hufflepuff, according to the Pottermore website, and that's the only correct place to find out what house you're in. But as you can see, these houses are split into 4 colors. Hufflepuff is yellow, Gryffindor is red, Ravenclaw is blue, and Slytherin is green. Each of these palettes is $16, and they each consist of 9 shades. We also got 4 lip glosses. They are $10 each. They're in the shades Platform 9 3/4, which is the train platform that Harry gets on to go to school. We have Spectre Specs, which are little glasses that help you see the little bugs that infect your brain. We have Howler, which is a letter that mothers send to children when they've been bad. And we have Hedwig, which is Harry's owl, which looks like a very beautiful gloss. We'll have to see more. We also have here the Deathly Hallows brush kit. This is all 3 Deathly Hallows and the Deathly Hallows, I guess like the themed one. They needed to make it 4 brushes somehow, I guess. So we have the Deathly Hallows brush, the Cloak brush, the Stone brush, and the Wand brush. Again, if you don't know what I mean, that one is way too much to explain in just a few seconds. Now my Ulta also had 4 makeup bags that come with this collection. Each one is a representation of a different house, and those are $16 each. They're actually a pretty good sized makeup bag. I just didn't really need another makeup bag. I have plenty of them, and I also have a Harry Potter themed bag that I got from Universal Studios a few years ago that I can put this stuff in if I really want to theme it out. So I didn't really need one. But they do have them, and they're kind of cute. Kind of generic, but kind of cute. And that is all of this collection that my Ulta got, but there is more to this collection. There's also a Bewitching PH Lip Balm, which is $10. And with it being PH, I'm sure it's color changing, so it's bewitching and magical. There's also lip crayons. There's 4 of them. There's also a hair accessory set. I forgot we did get that, but I didn't really need that because I don't use big poofy scrunchies. I use tight little rubber banded scrunchies because I'm not about that life right now in my life. But that was $18, and that does include all 4 scrunchies, a green one, a blue one, a red one, and a yellow one to match all the houses. Okay, so that's the whole collection. Let's dive in. I am going to open up the brushes first because I'm gonna need them to put on my makeup. Oh, it feels like Christmas. I just love Harry Potter so much. Mark and I went to Harry Potter World a couple of years ago after a trip to Disney. I don't remember what year it was actually, probably 2017, 2018, I don't remember. I had so much fun. It is such a magical place. I grew up reading all of the Harry Potter books, and Harry's birthday is in July. My birthday is in September. The books were always released in August-September timeframe, so whenever Harry was celebrating his birthday, in the beginning of the books, I was always celebrating my birthday, so we always shared that special day together. And all I wanted in life was to go to a magical world that I knew existed, and Harry Potter was that escape for me. So with this brush set, we have the Deathly Hallows brush, which looks like a giant fluffy powder brush. Feels very soft. Oh, I like it. Oh wow, that's actually a really cool brush. It looks just like the Death Eaters whenever they disappear and how they leave that smoke behind. That's what they look like. Very, very soft. I like it. It's a good face brush. It looks like we have a blush brush. Very soft again. Pretty similar to the shape of most blush specific brushes I have. It feels like maybe these are all going to be natural hair bristles. I'm not sure though. They look like it, and based on that bristle being wriggly, it looks like it's going to be. But I can't guarantee. I'm not sure. Then this one is the stone brush. Looks like a detailed crease brush. Yeah, could fit right there in the crease. Or it would be a really great lower lash line buffing brush. And then the wand, which is a true buffing brush. Could be used to just buff out a line under the lash line or a line on the lash line. So like a smudger brush. Could be a perfect inner corner highlight brush or a brow bone highlight brush. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the swatches of the glosses. I want to first show you guys the components for the lip glosses because they're super cute. This is Hedwig, obviously, because it has Hedwig the owl on the front of it. This is, you guessed it, Platform 9 3/4. This is Howler, which is an envelope screaming, because that's what a howler is. And this is Spectre Specs. And those are Spectre Specs. I think the little dots, or the little, I guess, sparkles, I don't know, all over the glosses are kind of cute. It's a nice little touch. It's very Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets era type designs. And here are all 4 gloss shades. So Hedwig is at the top, Platform 9 3/4 is the second, Howler is the third, and Spectre Specs is the fourth. And now here is the Hufflepuff palette close-up. Dedication, patience, loyalty. That is who a Hufflepuff is. That's me! I've not looked at the insides of the palettes because I wanted to keep it a first impressions. So let's see what it looks like. Oh, plastic! Huh. Okay. Let me take the plastic off. Okay, here it is. So I see the Hufflepuff yellow in the middle with a few cool tones, little sparkly things everywhere. Looks like 4 mattes and 5 shimmers. Oh, and I just realized on the back of the palette, it says, inspired by Hufflepuff House Colors. This palette features warm and neutral tones with pops of yellow and gold. Includes 9 eyeshadows in matte and shimmer finishes. Now it's time for Gryffindor! Gryffindor is courage, determination, and bravery. On the back it says, inspired by Gryffindor House Colors, this palette features warm tones with pops of red and gold. Includes 9 eyeshadows in matte and shimmer finishes. Where's the red? There's a slight sort of like pinky red, and I guess that's like a dark maroon, but I don't see a Gryffindor red in here. That's disappointing. And now Slytherin. Slytherins are ambitious, they have pride, and they're cunning. Inspired by Slytherin House Colors, this palette features cool tones with pops of green and silver. Includes 9 eyeshadows in matte and shimmer finishes. And she looks like... oh, okay. Now see, that's green enough to be Slytherin. I like that. Seems like a lot of these cool tones are very similar though. Won't know until we swatch it, but we'll see. And last but certainly not least, we have Ravenclaw, which is learning, wit, and wisdom. And on the back it says, inspired by Ravenclaw House Colors, this palette features cool tones with pops of blue and silver. Ooh, those are really, really pretty. I like those a lot. And that a lot. And that a lot. Oh, I think this is my favorite. It's very pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in, and we're going to get started on swatching. The first shade in the Gryffindor palette is Peach. Autumn, Chocolate Frog, which are really, really good, by the way. Pure, Passion, Howler, Mandrake, Chestnut, and Cocoa. Now the first shade in the Hufflepuff palette is Sherbet, Sunset, Lumos, Golden Snitch, Galleon, Earth, Honest, Rust, and Burrow. This is all the swatches from the Gryffindor palette and the Hufflepuff palette. As always, I will insert photos of the swatches, one with flash here. And one without flash here. And here is a video close-up of the swatches for you guys. And now for the first shade in the Slytherin palette, Pebble. Fluffy, Moon, Barren, Herb, Elm, Ivy, Toad, Black Lake. Then the first shade in the Ravenclaw palette, Natural, Fang, Beauxbatons, ooh, Hedwig, Pigwidgeon, Ghost, Bark, Pixie, and Twilight. And now that is every single shade from the Slytherin palette and the Ravenclaw palette. I'll go ahead and insert the photos of the swatches as well, one with flash here, and one without flash here. And again, a video close-up of the swatches, so you can really see what they look like. That was a lot of swatches. Like a lot of swatches. I don't know that I've ever swatched that many shades at one time. Probably come close though. Okay, I wish I had 4 eyes so I could do 4 looks at the same time. Because I would love to see these all on my face at the same time. But I can't. Let's go ahead and jump into a look with the Gryffindor palette on my right side and the Hufflepuff palette on my left side. I'm going to start with Gryffindor. Now I'm going to prime my eyes with my P. Louise base in the shade Rumor 01 as always, so I have consistent results across the board. I've actually never tried Ulta Beauty Collection shadows, so I'm interested to see what these are like, how they perform, if they're good or not. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lay down an overall base tone, and for that I'm gonna use the shade Autumn, and I'm gonna do that with a Morphe M441 giant fluffy brush. It seems like okay pigment so far. Oh, well, that's pretty good. Okay. That is one deep maroon. It almost could appear like a purple if I used the right colors with it. If I were to add more purples around this, it would pass as a purple. Next is the Morphe M433 brush, and I'm gonna use that in the shade Peach. I'm almost gonna use this shade as a buffer between the base tone and the shade Autumn, because I do want to pull Autumn all the way to the inner corner, but I want it to lighten as it gets toward the inner corner. So once I build up Peach in that inner crease area, then I'm going to start pulling Autumn toward the inner area. I just tapped Peach on top of Autumn and it just literally melted into one another. That is beautiful. I like that a lot. Now I'm going to use the Morphe M456 brush, which is like an M433 but smaller. It's for us hooded eye folk, and I'm going to go into the shade Chocolate Frog, and I'm going to use this right on top of Autumn in the deepest part of the crease. Oh, that's pretty. It is now time for the Morphe M506 pointed blender brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Mandrake which might be a mistake. It might completely change this look. This might be where I go overboard with the shadows, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I am going to blend out the shade Autumn with Mandrake. It was funny, the other day Professor Flitwick was trying to teach a couple of first years how to levitate using Wingardium Leviosa, and one of them dropped a rabbit on his head. It was so funny. I couldn't believe it. And then, of course, little Miss Hermione had to stand up in front of the whole class and tell her what she did wrong. I feel like Hermione is never gonna learn those social cues of when not to be smart. But that's okay, Ron wasn't paying any attention. He was too busy flirting with Luna. She's really got a hold of his Spectre specs, I'll tell you that much. Okay, Mandrake or Mantigora is now blended in to Autumn. I'm going to use the Morphe M124 flat brush, and I think I'm going to use the shade Howler. I'm going to put Howler all over my eyelid. Actually, I'm not going to use this brush. I'm going to use a bigger flat brush so it doesn't take me 10,000 years. I'm going to use this Morphe C-shaped brush and go ahead and apply Howler all over the lid with this one. And that's cute. Not spraying the brush, or I'm not putting down a tacky base or anything, so we'll get to see how it works just by itself. Very foiled. I mean, I can see in the monitor, it's very reflective. A little more of a copper tone. Copper tone. A little more of a copper tone than I thought it was gonna be. I was hoping for more maroon, but it does have a little bit of like a, I don't know, maybe that is just more maroon. It just looks kind of coppery in a weird way. But it's pretty. I'm going to take this up all the way up toward the line where my lid turns into my crease, to my socket, essentially. That's gorgeous. I like that a lot. That shade is just really pretty. Now I'm going to use the Morphe M416, little bitty tiny flat packing brush. I'm going to go into the shade Passion and put her on my brow bone. Or he. I don't know if it's a her. Don't want to be too judgy. Ooh, that is a beautiful gold. This side is wonderful. I love it. Now I'm going to go ahead and prime this eye and get it ready for Hufflepuff. And now for the Hufflepuff side, I'm going to start by using the Sigma E35 tapered blending brush. It's not actually green. I'm going to start with the shade Galleon. Kind of the same concept as what I did on the Gryffindor side. I just want to get an overall base tone down so that I can have a nice color base to work with. This is making me want to go watch all the Harry Potter movies all over again. Hello, pigment! That is a beautiful yellow. Very sunshiny. Since Galleon is now blown out in my crease area, I'm going to go in with this other Morphe M456 brush and go into the shade Sherbet. Sherbet Lemon. Have I been sleeping on Ulta Beauty Collection shadows this whole time? Did I just not know? Okay, yellow is everywhere. Now I'm going to use the Stone brush, and I think I'm going to go into the shade Honest. Hopefully this will work. I have no idea. I'm going to use it to deepen up the crease. I just don't know how gray and yellow are going to work together, but we're going to find out. I might end up botching it and taking it all off. I do believe the crease is now done. Now I'm going to use the Morphe M167 brush. It's another flat packer brush, a pretty large one as a matter of fact. And I'm going to catch the golden snitch and put it on my lid. Again, no spray or no tacky base, just going right on the lid. Yep, she's beautiful. Okay, I just want that shade in the inner corner area, but not all the way to the inner corner. Now I'm going to use the Luxie 213 eye shading brush. It's another flatter C-shaped shader brush. And I'm going to go into the shade Burrow this time. And this one's going to go on my outer corner. I'm going to follow it into the lash line as well, just a little bit, just to make sure it keeps that oval shape with golden snitch right here. I am loving the performance of these shadows. I'm going to use the wand brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Lumos. Ooh, she looks so brilliant. I'm going to put this right on the inner corner of my lid. Do you see her? Oh, I see her. Woo. And I'm just going to lightly pat Lumos into golden snitch. I'm also going to throw that right on the inner corner as an inner corner highlight. Wow, when that gets built up, that is literally like a flashlight. Okay, now for brow bone highlight, I think I'm actually going to stick with Lumos, but I'm gonna combine it with Golden Snitch. So I'm gonna go in with Golden Snitch first. Lightly apply it up here. See, that just gives a beautiful yellow sheen. I just want it to be a little more intense than that. So now Golden Snitch is there. And let's take Lumos and just get the highest point of the brow bone. And it goes right on top. I love this. I love both of these. One is very Gryffindorian, the other is very Hufflepuffian. That sounds so funny. Now with the top of both eyes done, the crease in the lid completely finished, we need to move on to the lower lash line so that I can completely finish off the looks. And before I can do that, obviously, I need to go in and do my base. So I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera, finish all my face makeup, and then I'll be right back so we can finish off the lower lash line. I'll see you guys in just a second. We are now back and it is time to complete the lower lash line so that this look can be completely finished off, or these looks can be completely finished off. I'm gonna use this Morphe M506 brush first and go into the shade Chocolate Frog. And on the Gryffindor side, that's essentially gonna be my lower lash line base tone, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if you were to start with a dark shade on your crease as your transition shade. It's sort of the same concept. This brush might have been a little bit too fluffy of a brush to go in with though. Okay, now that that is restricted to only the outer edge of the lower lash line, I'm going to use this Morphe M514 brush and go into the shade Autumn again. And this is where I'm going to bring back in that red tone. I'm just going to blend out Chocolate Frog with Autumn, but I'm going to pull this shade the rest of the way in towards the inner corner. And now for the Hufflepuff side. I am first going to go in with the shade Earth. I didn't get to use that on the crease, so why not use it now? And again, I'm just sticking with the outer lower lash line for this shade, since it's the darker shade. And last, I'm going to use this other Morphe M506 pointed blender brush and go back into the shade Galleon. And this is where I'm going to add back in my yellow. And voila! That's done. So I'm going to go ahead and put mascara on my lower lashes and pick one of the 4 glosses that's going to pair best with this look. Put it on and then I'll come back, show you guys the finished looks. Then we'll get to work on the second set. Be right back. And here we have the first set of final looks. We have the Gryffindor side. And the Hufflepuff side. So that's it for Gryffindor and Hufflepuff. Let's go ahead and move on to Slytherin and Ravenclaw. I'm gonna start with the Ravenclaw side because blue. As you can see, my face is a blank slate yet again. And I did go ahead and prime my eye with the P. Louise base yet again. I'm gonna start with the Sigma E40 tapered blending brush and go into the shade Bark. Then I'm gonna pull this shade out in that little wing shape that we do. And now, gonna take the Morphe M456 into the shade Natural. And she is gonna get blown out right here in this inner corner. We're just sticking with this whole lighter inner corner to deeper outer corner theme. The light color just melts into these deeper tones. I'm gonna use the Morphe M433 brush and go into the shade Fang. I'm gonna go with the shade just in the crease, mostly in the outer corner. Kind of like what I did with Hufflepuff. Just deepening up with a gray tone. Now I've needed to go into this shade since I saw this palette. I'm gonna go into the shade Pixie using this Morphe C-shaped brush. I think I used it on Hufflepuff or the Gryffindor look, I don't remember for sure. That was 2 days ago. Now, not wetting the brush, not going in on a tacky base, just putting it directly on the lid. Baby, you're all that I want. That is so gorgeous. Do you see this blue? Do you see this blue? This is a beautiful color blue. It's not my favorite color blue, but it's a beautiful color blue. And I just cannot believe how foiled these are just with the initial laydown. I haven't had to build up any of them. With that shade applied to the lid absolutely perfectly, it's time to use this other C-shaped shader brush and go into the shade Twilight. And with Twilight, since it's such a deep, deep blue, I'm just gonna keep it right on the outer corner. Then I'm going to use the Morphe M326, and this time I'm going to go into the shade Bow Battens. I love this shade because it literally looks like the exact same color as the Bow Battens dresses. This is gonna be my inner corner shade. Now I'm gonna go in with the Morphe M508 brush, and I'm gonna use the shade Hedwig. That's not too glittery. It is glittery. I would make sure I use this shade definitely before your face makeup because there is some fallout. So that's actually it for the Ravenclaw palette for now. For the top of the look. We still have to the bottom, but that comes later. So let's go ahead and move into Slytherin. I went ahead and primed my eyes with the P. Louise Beige in the shade Rumor 01 yet again. And now I'm gonna start with the Sigma E35 tapered blending brush and go into the shade Herb. And again, I'm just filling the shade in the crease. Well, actually I'm done doing it now, so there's that. But you can see what I did. And as with the previous 3 looks, I'm gonna use another Morphe M456 brush and go into the shade Pebble this time. And I'm gonna put this shade right in the inner corner and blow it out to the bridge of my nose. And now I'm gonna use the Morphe M33 brush again, and I'm gonna go into the shade Fluffy this time. I don't know if what I'm about to try is gonna work. I'm gonna try to deepen Herb up with Fluffy, but Fluffy is like a weird deep maroon, and I don't know how they're gonna mix together, but we're gonna try and see what happens. Either it's gonna work, or it's not. Wow. I literally cannot believe that did anything. But it did. It worked really well, actually. Like, I really like the way that looks. Next, I'm going to use the Morphe M204 very fluffy flat brush and go into the shade Toad. Now, I'm going to put a toad on my eye. Ooh. I love these shimmers. And I'm just going to keep this shade centrally located on the lid, right smack dab in the center. Okay, yes, very, very Serpent Sortia. Now it is time for this flat shader brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Elm. Elm is going to go right on this outer corner. It almost looks like an exact match to Fluffy, so I feel like it's really going to help the lid and the crease become one. And now I'm going to use this teeny tiny itty bitty shader brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Ivy. This is going to go right on the inner portion of my lid. With this shade being Ivy, it reminds me of the Devil's Snare. Devil's Snare, Devil's Snare. Loads of fun, but we'll soak in the sun, that's it. Devil's Snare hates sunlight. Limos who lim. Listen guys, let's just grab some popcorn and start with the Sorcerer's Stone and binge. Let's go all 8 movies. I'm here for it. I want a Harry Potter mirror. The Mirror of Erised in my hand? Why is this not my life? Now I'm going to use this teeny tiny Morphe M416 brush, which is like a brow bone highlight brush, and I'm going to use it to highlight my brow bone. I'm going to use the shade Moon for this. Ooh, that is beautiful. It literally looks like the color of the moon. There we have it. First half of both eyes is done. So we've got the crease completed of Slytherin and Ravenclaw. Now I'm going to go ahead and go off camera, do all of my face makeup, and come back so that we can finish off the lower lash line and the inner corner. So I'm going to go ahead and disappear for about a millisecond and do all of that, and then I'll be right back with a full B. See you guys in just a second. Face is done, and I highly recommend maybe not using the Slytherin and Ravenclaw palettes for your blush because it looked really weird. Unless you're really going to go there and make it like hardcore blue and hardcore green blush. Unlike with the Hufflepuff and the Gryffindor palettes, those made beautiful blushes because they were yellow and red. So it was actually like pretty and not muddy. I digress. I now need to finish off the lower lash line. And I am going to start with the Ravenclaw side. And I'm going to use this Morphe X Coca-Cola pointed blender brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Fang. And I'm going to use this shade right on the outer edge of the lower lash line to try and connect it to the crease. Only going to stick to the outer edge though. I'm also making sure that I pull the shade up and around and into the crease so it fully connects. And now I'm going to use the Deathly Hallows Stone brush, or the Stone brush. And with this one, I'm going to go back into the shade Bark. I'm just going to blend out Fang with Bark. Beautiful. And now I'm going to take the wand brush again, and I'm going to go into the shade Hedwig, and that's going to be my poppin' inner corner highlight. Please be poppin'. Please be poppin'. Oh yeah, it's poppin' all right. Now let's finish off Slytherin. I'm going to use the Morphe M507 brush and go into the shade Fluffy. Again, maintaining the outer edge of the lower lash line rather than the inner at first. And then pulling this shade up into the crease. It's not going to match just yet, but by the time I add the green shade in, it should. Maybe. Hopefully. If not, it won't. And that's all. And then I'm going to go in with the Doll 10 Transition Transformer brush. And I'm going to go into the shade Herb with this one. It sounds like I'm saying a name. Hey Herb, how you been? And now last, but certainly not least, I'm going to take this Lavish pencil brush. It's a very pointed brush. And go into the shade Moon, and that's going to be my inner corner highlight. Wow, I used too much. And I love it. There we have it. That is both sides completely complete, upper crease and lower lash line all done. Oh, those inner corner highlights are popping. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish off my lower lash line with the Lash Freak mascara. Give me just a second, I'll be right back, and then we will go over my final thoughts for the Ulta Beauty x Harry Potter collection. Next set of finished looks is here. So we have Ravenclaw, and the Slytherin side. So when it comes to the Ulta Beauty x Harry Potter collection, would I recommend it? I'm pretty sure I would. Having never tried Ulta Beauty eyeshadow formulas, I am pleasantly surprised. They performed really, really well. They blended really well. They had pretty decent pigmenty going on. The only thing I don't like about them is the lasting power. The pigmentation of the lasting power doesn't really last all that long. Yesterday when I was trying out Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, they lost their vibrancy probably about the 4th or 5th hour I was wearing them. Of course, you could still tell that the main undertone of the look was yellow and red, but you just couldn't see those popping colors. Granted, they weren't super popping colors to begin with, but like the bright yellow and the maroon, those didn't show as strong after they wore down a little while. And that's sort of disappointing, but I think the price is right for them. I do think they perform well based on that price. I ended up wearing the gloss in platform 9 3/4 with the Gryffindor and Hufflepuff looks, and today I ended up wearing the Hedwig gloss, which is the clear with some glitter, but I have concealer lips, so it actually looks kind of like a nude with gloss, which is sort of cute. So I didn't use the others, but I do like the way these two feel, and assuming they all feel the same, I do really like them. They're on the thicker side when it comes to gloss formulas, but they don't feel that way. They just look that way. They feel just nourishing, really. But they do look pretty beautiful. The brushes felt super soft. They performed really well. I used them twice now, all 4 of them twice now, and they perform well. They're soft, they feel like natural hair bristles, and they come clean really easy, which was great. Now, the negative part. I don't know if you really call this negative, it's just opinionated. This collection feels like what Hogwarts administration would come out for its students. It feels very cutesy Harry Potter, like Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets type Harry Potter. It's very adolescent. And I grew up with Harry Potter. I'm not an adolescent anymore. I'm a little older than that now. And I think it would be really cool to see a collection that's, I don't know, I want to say a little more involved, but this is involved. It has a bunch of names for things that means things associated to the stories. It just feels like generic Harry Potter. It doesn't feel like it meant very much. And that's not to put down anyone that worked on creating it, because I'm sure that a lot of time and effort went into creating it and coming up with the theming for everything. I mean, the emblems on the front of the palettes are very specific to the nature of each house, and the glosses, the packaging does mean something for the name of the gloss. Even the brushes look like Death Eaters disappearing. It just feels childish in a way, I guess. When it comes to this collection specifically, I do recommend it. I think the palettes are great. Also, whenever it comes to the color stories of the palettes, I do think they each fit the house that they go with. Although, I do wish Ravenclaw had a matte blue, because every other palette had a matte color of its house color. I don't think you necessarily need all 4 palettes. I think you could really benefit from just getting the one that's your favorite. I hope that this video maybe kind of helped you out a little bit on discovering which one might be your favorite. Hopefully I was able to show you just the shades that were in them and what you can get out of each one. And in that, I hope you enjoyed the video as a whole. I hope you enjoyed the review of the collection. If you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up because it does let me know that you like my content and that you appreciate the 2 days that it took me to film this video. Also, if you like these looks and you want to see more looks like them, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. My username is the same for everything. It's just ChristopherJMUA. And if you gain nothing out of this video, if you gain nothing out of any of my videos, please at least gain this. And that is to always remember and to never forget that you are absolutely beautiful. And I love you guys. Bye.